everyone, welcome back to your channel. There is J Physics Maniac. So in between the time there is a little bit of lag while uploading the videos. Even in the last uploading also I told that because of the health issues it is taking a little bit of time. I'm trying my level best to keep the videos uploaded in a short span of time. I had many requests on the channel also. I'm trying. I will try my level best. So today we are going to start a new chapter that is on capacitor and capacitance. It is just after the electrostatics. Even there are many books in which the properties of conductors and insulators are given along with electrostat, but I prefer to discuss this in capacitor and capacitance. Probably in between somewhere we will discuss. Now the capacitor and capacitance lecture we will divide into a few parts. Initially we will talk about the capacitor. Mainly today's lecture we will talk about the parallel plates, then different type of capacitors, then combination, then we'll come to dielectrics, and there will be many interesting never before seen things on dielectrics. Without wasting much time, let us start. So the first thing that you can see on the screen is what is a capacitor. It's a very simple answer, that it is a device which stores electrostatic energy. So here on the screen you can see that I have shown the actual schematic representation of a capacitor. So what it does, it stores electrostatic energy. Okay, it stores electrostatic energy, है ना? Right, how it stores? Because capacitor is a device which limits electric field in between the plates, for which I have taken two conducting plates, one having the uniform charge density plus sigma, another is having the uniform charge density minus sigma, and due to them the field lines are being shown. The left plus sigma field lines are shown with red color arrows. You can see every region it is radially outward. We have already shown this earlier. And for this light green color, it is always radially inward towards the plate, and because of which you can see that in this region E net is equal to 0, and in the furthest right region also E net equal to 0. So the net field is restricted in between the plates. So this is the region in between the plates where the field is restricted, correct? So if the field is restricted, we know that the field carries some kind of energy, because we have already studied that the field energy density, wherever there is an electrostatic field, the field energy density du dv is equal to half of epsilon naught into E square. So definitely this inner portion, this will store some kind of energy, and hence it will behave as a capacitor. So on a gross, capacitor is a device which stores, or it is an arrangement which stores electrostatic energy by restricting the electric field in between them, right? Okay, let's move ahead. Next part, when I'm writing that, suppose I'm giving it a charge dq, so this potential of this plate V will be directly proportional to Q. If we increase the value of Q that is given to the plate, this value V also will increase. So to convert this proportionality, this inequality into equation, we have to bring in a constant of proportionality, and that proportionality is basically C, which is the capacitance. So if I have to define capacitance, C is equal to, we can write Q by V, or you can write Q by delta V. If we make delta V is equal to 1, then C becomes is equal to Q. Try to understand, then we'll write that capacitance is the amount of charge needed to elevate or to make a difference of 1 volt of potential in an arrangement. I repeat once again, capacitance is the amount of charge needed to create a difference, a potential difference of 1 volt in an arrangement, right? And we all know that delta V potential difference is equal to E into D. D is the distance. So if I substitute for a parallel plate, the capacitance value, you will have this. It's a very simple kind of calculation which is there in front of your screen. And we know that in between these two conducting plate, field will be sigma by epsilon naught, because due to one plate, due to a single plate, field is sigma by 2 epsilon naught. For a positive plate, field will be radially outward. This is positive plate. For a negative plate, it will be radially inward, and for that also field is sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So due to superposition principle, these two fields will be added and hence the net field will be sigma by epsilon naught. So after substitution, the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor becomes epsilon naught A by D, which is not a big deal. In that process, you can see that whenever I am giving small amount of elemental charge to this plate, subsequently the potential is rising, so there will be an electrostatic work done, that will be V into dq. Q is equal to, I have discovered, to be Cv, so dq is CdV. Substituting it here and integrating the result, we get W is equal to half Cv square, and this will be stored as a electrostatic energy in the plate. And I will just come after one slide while I will discuss in detail. I will give you two perspectives from which you can have the entire understanding clear, right? Now the next question that comes in our mind, when I'm writing Q is equal to Cv, what is Q? You will find many textbook and many entrance book where it is casually written that Q is the charge on the plate. But is it so? Is the Q the charge on the plate that form capacitance? The simple answer is no. We will see. Let us see. So here in this arrangement, I have taken two conducting plates and one is given charge Q1, other is given charge Q2. I am considering both are given positive charges. Now when both of them are given positive charges, there will be some kind of rearrangement of the charges on each surface of these plates. Each surface means we have surface 1, surface 2, surface 3, surface 4. So I have to figure out which surface carries what amount of charge. That is a technical challenge that we have to unlock over here. So for that I will take the help of simple Gauss law. That is, I have taken an inside point P here and I am considering that in this surface 1 the charge is x, and you notice that there is no connection between these two plates, so each of the plates are isolated. So I will write each of the plates are isolated. So if the plates are isolated, we can write that charge on the plates has to be constant, it cannot vary. So if the charge on surface 1 is x and this entire plate is given charge q1, so charge on surface 2 has to be q1 minus x. I don't think there is any ambiguity. Try to learn, right? Now I am thinking about this point P. You imagine this is a positive charge, this x is a positive charge, so as this one is also a positive charge. So at point P, this point P is inside, P is taken inside the plate, है ना? Right. Now for conductors, we know charges always reside on the outer surfaces. No charge will reside inside the conducting plate. So basically, if I take a Gaussian boundary surrounding P, there is no charge. So flux has to be 0. So electric field has to be 0 at point P. Due to x, there will be a field in the rightward direction. And this field I can write comfortably has to be x by A, that is charge per unit area, divided by 2 epsilon naught. Similarly, due to this q1 minus x, we will have field in that direction. How much will that be? q1 minus x divided by A, that becomes sigma, divided by 2 epsilon naught. And as I have said that since P is an inside point, so electric field at point P has to be equal to 0. So if it has to be 0, then these two fields must balance out each other. So x by 2a epsilon naught is equal to q1 minus x divided by 2a epsilon naught. So from there you can clearly see that x is coming to be q1 by 2, right? Correct. So I'm just taking a gross idea. Okay, if you are given the charge q1 to one plate, or as of now I am not considering the existence of this plate, if there is only one plate, this is the circumstance we are having. That means whatever charge you give to the system, if this plate is a system, half of the charges will come on the outermost boundary. So The point that is needed here is half of the charges given to a system will come on the outermost surfaces. All right. So half of the charges will come on the outermost surfaces. This is the thing that we have to consider here. Now we will go back to the system, original system. How much charge you have given here? The total charge given to the system is Q1 plus Q2. So if I can roughly draw the diagram over here, I will just make a rough representation. So I will take this is one plate and I will take this is the other plate. All right, no problem. Then I will take the charge given to this is Q1 and charge given to this is Q2. So Q system is equal to Q1 plus Q2. This is the total amount of charge given to the system. So what are the outermost surfaces? The outermost surfaces here, if I name them 1, 2, 3, 4, now 1 and 4 here are the outermost surfaces. Outermost surfaces. How do you identify the outermost surfaces? The surfaces which are not facing another surface. So here in this direction, 1 is not facing any surface. In the similar way, 4 is also not facing any surface. So that's why these are outermost surfaces. So as per the concept, half of the total charge means it has to be Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2. It came on the outermost surface. Similarly, same amount of charge will also come here, Q1 plus Q2 by 2. Now, as I suggested that both these plates are isolated plates, so total charge on the individual plates has to be constant. The number cannot vary. If the Q1 charge is given to the red plate, it has to be Q1. So what is the charge on surface 2 then? It has to be Q1 minus Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2. And this charge will be, if I am not wrong, Q1 minus Q2 by 2. So I repeat here that Q1 here is, Q1 refers charge on the first surface is equal to Q1 plus Q2 by 2, which is the charge on the fourth surface, and charge on second surface is equal to Q1 minus Q2 by 2. All right. And similarly on this surface, if I want to calculate, it has to be Q2 is the total charge, out of which this charge came outside, Q1 plus Q2 by 2, and this number will become Q2 minus Q1 by 2. I can suitably modify this result and I can write minus of Q1 minus Q2 by 2. So Q3 comes to be minus of Q1 minus Q2 by 2. Now you see the interesting part here, and that is the most important thing. Now if you see the charge division, if you see the charge distribution, you will see that equal and opposite charges are being framed only on the inner facing surfaces. Like if we have this as the capacitor, now I have this plate here and I have this plate here. On this plate charge is Q1 minus Q2 by 2, and on this surface charge is minus of Q1 minus Q2 by 2. So where the electric field is getting restricted, here the electric field is getting restricted, equal and opposite charges, right? So when I am going to write that Q is equal to C into delta V, what is this Q? Is this the total charge on the plate? The answer is no. Already it is in front of us. So what is that Q? That Q is the charge on the inner facing surfaces. All right. So do the total charge given to the system form capacitance? Blunt answer is no. No, they do not form. Only the charge that is being restricted on the inner surfaces, on the inner facing surfaces, will form the capacitance. So these charge on the inner facing surfaces only will form capacitance. I hope this is clear now. Correct. So whenever you will be given an arbitrary system, you have to do the charge distribution first. Then from the charge distribution, equal an amount of charges will come on the outermost surfaces. Then you will see that equal and opposite charges are coming on the inner faces, and hence capacitance will be formed only because of those equal and opposite charges on the inner surfaces. I hope this is clear, right? Let's proceed now. So next thing, when we know that electric field is restricted, now we want to calculate how much energy is stored in a capacitor, right? So for that I will follow two approaches. One is bit mechanical and another one is directly a thing that we have learned already prior to this concept. So let us study. So in this case, as you can see, initially I am considering that both these plates are at the same position, right? Then by applying an external force, now since this is having positive charge, this is having negative charge, so there will be a force of attraction. So this green plate will be attracted by the red plate, and the direction of the force is also being provided here. So there will be a natural tendency whenever you try to separate the green plate will automatically move towards the red plate. But we do not want that situation. What we want, that we are trying to separate the plate. So because of which I am applying an external force exactly opposite to the direction of the electrostatic attraction. And we are moving the plate very slowly because we want to suitably apply the work energy theorem, for which I have to move the plate very slowly. If the plate is moved very slowly, then the acceleration of the plate is zero, so velocity remains constant, hence change in kinetic energy will be equal to zero. That's my agenda. So it is moved slowly means V is equal to constant. V is equal to constant means delta K is equal to 0. So as per work energy theorem, what will happen? Work done by electrostatic field plus work done by external agent is equal to change in kinetic energy, which is equal to 0. So work done by electrical force is equal to negative of work done by external agent. Anyway, correct? Even from the direction of the forces also you can directly tell. So now I am calculating what is the work done by external agent. So that will be simply F external vector into dx vector. Dx vector is taken to be in the rightward direction, right? Okay. Now, so dw is equal to F external dot dx. Now since these two vectors are parallel, so it will be plus qv into dx. Now what is E? E here is basically the field produced by the red plate. So field due to one plate is sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Charge on the green plate is sigma into A into dx. So now if you notice that W is equal to, it is coming sigma square A divided by 2 epsilon naught is a constant quantity. Hence it is out of the integration. Integration of 0 to d dx. So the term comes W external equal to sigma square D into A divided by 2 epsilon naught. We know, we have already seen that work done by external agent is equal to negative of work done by electrostatic force. So W electrostatic becomes minus sigma square D into A by 2 epsilon naught. We also know from work energy theorem that since electrostatic force is a conservative force and work done by a conservative force is equal to negative of change in potential energy, right? So delta U becomes minus minus plus sigma square D into A divided by 2 epsilon naught. A little bit of rearrangement I have done, and from there you can see delta U is equal to Q square by 2C. So that's an energy that is stored in a capacitor. And since here in this case you see I did not attach any battery over anywhere, so when there is no battery connection, so no battery connection, so in this case charge Q will remain constant. So your energy equation preferably should be written in terms of Q square by 2C. Alright, so this is one approach. I hope you have thoroughly enjoyed. It is quite relatable to the things that you have studied in 11th mechanics, right? Okay. Now let us move on to method 2, and this is a direct approach that we have already done, because field energy density in the beginning also I have said du dv is equal to half epsilon naught into E square, and it's a common term we can use anywhere wherever there is a field trapped, and due to that there will be an energy in that certain region. If I integrate, so it will become half epsilon naught E means now it is the electric field trapped, that is sigma by epsilon naught whole square into dv, because You have to be careful. In the previous case, I was taking this is the charge and it was getting a force of attraction with this. So Q into E due to one plate. So that's why this term was sigma by 2 epsilon naught. If you notice here, sigma by 2 epsilon naught. In this case, this is different. Why? Because here in this case, I am taking the total field restricted in between the two plates, plus minus. So this field is basically the field due to this line and the field due to this line, which is sigma by 2 epsilon naught minus of minus sigma by 2 epsilon naught. It becomes sigma by epsilon naught. So that's why I have taken this. Now I am integrating this result. Now volume means what? Surface area of the plate. If the plates are arranged like this, simply socho, the plates are arranged like this, then facing area is A and the separation between them is D. So there will be a cubical volume which will come as A into D. So delta U is equal to, if I substitute the value of sigma, it becomes this. Again after rearrangement, delta U, you are getting Q square by 2C. It is the same result we are getting. So whether you follow the previous approach or you follow this approach, your result is going to remain same. So whenever a capacitor is not connected to a battery, the total charge remains same, and in that case, the energy will be Q square by 2C. All right, fine, right. Now, next. So next I will see a very interesting thing, that is charge distribution and heat dissipation. Charge distribution we have already seen, but we will work out this method here. So अब देखो, now I am going to work out this thing in quite a few methods. So first let us work out by method 1. You check here. So there are two capacitors and there is a switch. Initially the switch is not connected. So this capacitor potential difference is 4 volt, capacitance is 5 microfarad, and for this capacitor it is 2 volt and 5 microfarad. So if I redraw this diagram, then I can comfortably write over here is that this plate is having a charge of plus of 20 microcoulomb, this is minus of 20 microcoulomb. Similarly, the other capacitor will also have a charge. This plate will have a charge of plus 4 microcoulomb, this is having minus 4 of microcoulomb. Now suppose the key is closed. The key is closed now. अभी अब सोचो. So this is having greater charge, this is having lesser charge. So I am just bluntly imagining कि भाई from here Q charge is coming out and here Q charge is getting deposited. So on this plate the charge will be 20 minus Q, and on this plate charge will be 4 plus Q. I don't think you have any ambiguity over here, right? So initially, before the key is closed, what is the Q initial of the system? Can I write it is 20 plus 4, that is equal to 24 microcoulomb. 20 coulomb here, 4 coulomb there, 4 microcoulomb, sorry. Then it is 24 microcoulomb, right? Isolated capacitors, so charge has to remain same. There is no battery connection for the system, no. There is no charge leaking out outside the system. So for the entire system, charge has to remain same. So what is the Q final of the system? Q final of the system is 20 minus Q plus of 4 plus Q. Okay, I hope you are getting it, right? Fine, clear only, no? Right. So in that process, if you do, it is coming 24, and this is use check minus Q plus Q, it becomes 0. So it remains to be 24 microcoulomb. I hope for everyone it is clear. You understood the technique, correct? So for the system, there is no charge leaking out. So this has to be constant. Tell me one thing, when this charge separation will be stopped, right? Charges move from one point to another point if there is a potential difference. Just like water moves from one point to another point if there is a difference in gravitational potential energy. So we will replace the mass with charge. So charge moves from one point to another point if there is a difference in electrostatic potential. So, and it will continue to move till the potential of these two plates becoming same or potential difference across the plates becomes 0, right? So suppose this plate is having potential difference V, this is also having V, potential difference is V minus V 0, so charge will not move. So right, so the point I am writing that charge separation will continue till both the capacitors are reaching to a common potential. So their potential has to be same. So if that is the case, then you try to understand across this plate over here, this is having charge 20 minus Q. So obviously this will have minus 20 minus Q. And the other capacitor is having charge of 4 plus Q. So this will have minus of 4 plus Q. I am leaving that part aside. And I am imagining that both of them are reaching to a common potential. So by V is equal to, what is the formula? Q by C. Correct. So if I calculate for this capacitor, it has to be 20 minus Q divided by, what is the capacitance? 5 microfarad. So can I write 5? Right. And for this capacitor, it has to be 4 plus Q divided by, what is the capacitance? It is 2. So I'll write 2. Now this is Vc, this is also Vc. So these two has to be equal. So then I can write 20 minus Q by 5 is equal to 4 plus Q divided by 2. So if I just simplify this equation, it is coming 40 minus 2Q is equal to 20 plus 5Q. So 7Q is equal to 20. So Q is equal to 20 by 7. So this 20 by 7 microcoulomb of charge has flown out from this plate and it has deposited on this plate. So what is the final charges on the plates? I will write now. So on this particular surface, 20 minus Q. So how much it comes? 20 minus 20 by 7. So 20 minus 20 by 7, this is 140, that is 120 by 7, and this is 4 plus Q. So 4 plus 20 by 7 means it's 28, 48 by 7. So the final charges on the capacitors we will write like this. If this is the combination, we will write like this. This plate is having now 120 by 7 plus microcoulomb. This is having minus 120 by 7 microcoulomb. Here plus 48 by 7 microcoulomb. This is minus 48 by 7 microcoulomb. All right, this is clear to everyone. This is quite easy to understand, right? I have taken a little bit time because I hope you all want to understand. If you are learning for the first time, then please watch it very carefully, patiently. If you are not comfortable, pause the video, listen it once again, take a note, and then go forward. It is very easy, right? Okay. So initial configuration, now they are asking, the heading is heat dissipation. I want to calculate the heat dissipation. How will I do? So you see, initial configuration, it will have some kind of initial energy. Similarly, final configuration, it will have some kind of energy EF. Any imbalance between these two energy will result in heat. So delta H must be equal to E initial minus E final. Why am I saying so? Because while redistributing the charges from one plate to another plate, the electric field must have done some kind of work, right? Okay. Now, so what is the initial energy of the system? Initial energy of the system, you can clearly see here. The potential difference is given, capacitance is given. So half C, that is 5 into V square means 16, and for this half into 2 into 4. So I can write half into 5 into 16 plus half into 2 into 4. So how much it comes? It comes to be, this is 8. So 40, 2 to cancel, 40 plus 4, that is 44 microjoule. All right, correct. And once again, I have to remind one thing, do not just believe bluntly my calculation. I am a self-established champion of making calculation mistakes. So please follow your own calculation. Okay, and final they have reached a common potential. I can calculate the value of common potential also, since I got the charges. So with the help of charge also I can calculate now, because on this plate is 120 by 7 and this is 48 by 7. So the formula, if I apply q square by 2c, so I'll write 120 by 7 whole square divided by 2 into first capacitor is 5 microfarad. If you just forget, you see 5 microfarad. Second one is 2. So plus of 48 by 7 whole square divided by 2 into 2. Now I don't have any audacity to do the calculation. You can do on your own. And difference. So delta H, heat will be equal to EI minus EF, and you will see you will get a positive quantity which is greater than 0. That means heat will be released. Heat is dissipated. All right, fine. So that is one of the way to do. Is there any other smart way that we can do over here? Yes, we can do. There is a technique. How can I do? Let us check. So now I have taken a different, okay, fine. So I'm just making a little bit change, because I will give the other part as homework for all of you. So plus minus. So here in this case that we have two capacitors, 2 microfarad, 2 microfarad. One is given a potential difference of 10 volt and this is 5 volt before these are connected. So before connection, the charges here is plus 20 microcoulomb and here the charge is plus of 10 microcoulomb. So what is the Q initial of the system? If I have to find the initial charge on the system, it is 20 plus 10, that is equal to 30 microcoulomb. All right, fine. As I said that Q final of the system will also be 30 microcoulomb. I have already proved in the first question, right? And we know that after connecting, both of them will reach a common potential. So this will be Vc, correct? So can I write that Q final of the system is equal to, if I take these capacitance to be C1 and this to be C2, can I write C1 into Vc plus C2 into Vc? C1 value is given 2, C2 value is also given to be 2. So 2 plus 2 into Vc, that is 4 Vc. Now Q final is equal to Q initial. So I can write 30 is equal to 4 Vc. So Vc is coming to be 30 by 4, it means 15 by 2 volt, that is 7.5 volt. So the capacitors will have final potential difference of 7.5 volt across them when the charge separation will be stopped. Now again the same thing we have to follow. Delta H is equal to EI minus EF. What is EI? Quickly we will calculate. Half into capacitance is 2 and the potential difference 10, so 100 square, plus of half into capacitance is 2 into 5 square means 25. So how much it comes? 100 plus 25 is equal to 125 microjoule. And what is E final? E final is equal to, we will write half into C1 plus C2 into Vc square. So half C1 plus C2 into 4. Vc square means here we are getting how much? That 225 by 4. So if you cancel, it is coming to be, this is 225 by 2. So this is 112.5 microjoule. So difference between them, 125 minus 112.5, this difference is coming to be 12.5 microjoule. So this is the heat dissipated in this case. All right, fine. Now for you, you can try one homework. Try the same question but check the reverse polarity. You take this as minus plus 5 volt, then repeat the question. Do let me know your answer in the comment box. And if you find this video is useful and helpful, you are learning something out of it, please do subscribe, share and comment. That is the only thing that I can get from you. And I hope that I will be in a position to help you more in the near future. Thank you very much. Thanks all of you.